And I'm out here doing one of my favorite things in the entire world, and that's sitting at my fire pit. And I thought I'd tell you a quick story. When I was in college, I had a dream one night. I was, I think, a college junior, and college can be stressful, and I would have dreams from time to time where math problems would chase me and things like that. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but I had crazy dreams. They were anxiety provoked. And one night I had one of those, at least what I thought it was. And in the dream, my professor came and he was passing out tests, and I was sitting down at my desk, and he came and he put a test on my desk and it had a big red 0 at the top. And when I looked at that, I looked down, I looked up at him, and I said, "Why did you give me a 0? And he looked back at me with these just angry eyes, and he said, "Because you cheated." Oh, when he said that, I got so angry. In fact, I got so angry when he accused me of cheating, I started cussing at him. I started shouting at him. I started saying things that I didn't even know I had in me. Well, before too long, my professor was just so blown away by my response. He went out and got the dean of the college that I was in, brought him back, and they kicked me out of school. And it was this horribly embarrassing moment where I had to leave in front of my entire class, and then I woke up in a panic. I was just completely panicked by the whole thing and thought, oh my gosh, I woke up from it and I thought, this has to be one of those anxiety dreams where, I'm just nervous about something. Kind of blew it off and went back to sleep. Woke up the next morning, thought about it just for a brief second, but went on about my day, didn't even give it much of a passing thought because I thought it's another one of those anxiety dreams. And so I went about my day and I completely forgot about the dream. Completely forgot about it. Didn't give it another thought, I promise you. Didn't realize that I had that very class later that day. Didn't even think about the fact that we had taken a test the week before. None of that crossed my mind. 12 hours had passed since I'd had the dream. I go and I'm in that class, and I sit down at the very beginning of class at my desk, and the professor comes around and he's handing back tests. When that happens, I still don't remember the dream. I don't remember it at all. He hands back a test on my desk. He drops it on my desk, and on the top corner it has a big red 0 on it. I promise you, I still did not remember the dream. The next thing he did, I looked up at him and I said, "Why on earth did you give me a 0? And he looked back at me with just angry eyes and he said, "Because you cheated." Oh my gosh, when he said that, I got so angry. And I started thinking of the names I wanted to call him for calling me a cheater. And that is when I remembered the dream. I slumped back into my chair and I thought, oh my God, what have you done? Well, needless to say, I was a little shaken up by that. I didn't know what to think about. I just sat there during the class. I didn't know what to think about it. I thought, Lord, what do I do? I can't pass this class if I have a 0 on a test. How on earth am I going to do anything about this? But I thought, Lord, you showed me the dream. You knew this was going to happen. I was shocked because I didn't even know that I had it in me to react that way. And the Lord stopped me from doing what I did in the dream. I couldn't believe it. But I was in trouble. How was I going to pass the class? So I just sat there and I prayed during the whole class, and I said, Lord, you've got to do something about this. You've got to help me. I don't know what to do. So at the end of the class, I'd prayed about it. I thought about it. I went up to the professor and I said, is there anything you can do? I promise you, I didn't cheat. Will you reconsider? And he looked at me very sternly and he said, no. Well, I'm going to get some sticks for the fire here. Well, that left me with a serious problem. I didn't know what to do at that point, so I just prayed. I was too late in the semester to drop the class. We had rules at Texas A&M University where I went to be able to drop the class. Nice fire. We had rules where I could drop the class, but it was too late to do that, and so I didn't know what to do. So I just prayed and said, Lord, you've got to come through. You showed me the dream. You can do something about this. I know you can. And so I really just settled in, and I just really had faith that the Lord was going to come through and do something. So it was the next week when I was in his class again. I went and I sat and I was in my same desk, and I was continuing to go to the class. It's weird the way the fire is reflecting on me right now. I just really love sitting out here by the fire. Anyway, I was in that class, and he came back around and he knocked on my desk at the very beginning of the class and said, Darren, I want you to see me after class. I said, okay. And so I went to see him at the end of class. I thought maybe he's going to kick me out because you can get kicked out of college for cheating on a test. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I went up to him and I talked to him, and he said, Darren, I still think you cheated, but I know you can't pass the class with a 0. You were very respectful about it. I tell you what, I'll give you a 50 on the test. And I said, hey, I'll take it. I'd done the math, and with a 50, I could, I think I could get like a C or something like that, and I could pass the class. Because this was a class I needed for my major, and he was the only professor that taught it. So I was in a real jam. So he gave me the 50, and I skipped out of class. I was really happy. I was ecstatic for a 50 on a test because I felt like the Lord had come through. Well, it was about a week later. I was walking through the office building where all the professors had their offices, and I wasn't going to see him. I was going to see a different professor. And as I was walking to go see that different professor, I walked by his door. As I walked by his door, he saw me. He was looking outside for some reason, and he said, Darren, come here. So I turned around. I didn't know who was calling me. I peeked my head in his office, and it was this professor. And he said, Darren, come here. And I walked in. And I didn't know what was going on. He seemed really happy. And he said, Darren, do you have that test with you? I was like, well, actually, yes, I do. And I had it in my backpack. He's like, let me see it. So I pulled it out of my backpack. He didn't say what he was going to do, and I handed it to him. He's like, I thought about it. I don't think you cheated. I don't think you cheated at all. So he took that test, and he scratched out the 50. And he put 100 next to it. He said, Darren, thank you for being so respectful about this whole thing. Have a good day. Well, man, I just skipped right out of that class. I was so happy. I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. And the Lord really had come through. I learned a couple things from that. I learned that I'm going to start paying a lot more attention to my dreams. This was the very first time I'd ever had a dream that came literally true. I mean, exactly what I saw happen in the dream happened in real life. Fortunately, I didn't do the thing that was buried deep inside my spirit that I didn't even know was there. I didn't cuss him out. I didn't do all that because I was so stopped in my tracks by what happened. So fortunately, I didn't do that, but I decided I had to start writing my dreams down. I had to start really paying attention to my dreams. I've been asking the Lord for years to speak to me. And this was really the first time he ever had. I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. And so I knew that I needed to start paying close attention to that. So I started a dream journal where I was really writing everything down. Now, I had a dream journal before, but I'd been a little bit haphazard about it. Now I was serious. I wanted to write everything down. I wanted to catch everything that the Lord was going to say to me. The other takeaway that I had from this was that I knew that the Lord could come through. I didn't have to make this work. All I had to do was not screw it up. And I feel like for not screwing it up, the Lord showed me that the test he gave me was just to not screw it up. I didn't have to pass with flying colors. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to take seriously what he'd already shown me. And he gave me 100 on that test. I feel like I passed his test with flying colors. I want to encourage you. Ask the Lord to speak to you in dreams. Ask the Lord to speak to you. He really can. He really likes you. He really enjoys you. Ask him to speak to you in dreams, in visions, and any other way that he'll speak to you. Now, the primary way that the Lord speaks to us is through his word, his written word. But these kinds of things, you can't get that from his written word. When we lock his word inside of our hearts, study it every day, and then ask him to speak to us through dreams and visions, he really will. Now, I can't promise you he'll speak to you all the time, but I'm pretty sure he'll speak to you some. And it may not be dreams where it comes literally true that next day, but I encourage you, don't count that out. I want to encourage you. Ask the Lord to speak to you in dreams and visions. Keep a journal, keep a log. The more you ask, I know the more he'll speak. The more you take it seriously, the more you write these things down, the more you really take it seriously, the more he will speak. Anyway, I just wanted to share that really quick story with you. It's getting dark out here, as you can see. I wanted to share that quick story with you as I sat here in front of the fire. I hope that encourages you. I want to bless you. The Lord loves to speak to us. He wants to speak to you. And I hope that this God encounter, my God encounter, will encourage you to seek God for your own.